Vandeham Guru Shrihatutakamram Shivaran Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagar Jatam Sargana Raghunatham Tam Sajivam Sadhaitam Sadhutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Savanulitha Shri Vishaka Tamsha E Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Mudita Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vashabhanu Devi Pranamami Haripriya वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्यश्च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा. Welcome to the discussion on Bhagavad Gita. Last week we have discussed about Arjuna's confusion on, we are now in the third chapter. The chapter title is Karma Yoga. So we have gone through the overall breakup of this chapter. We finished first and second shlokas, which is Arjuna's confusion, which is renunciation of action, and then right now we discussed about the third chapter, that's third shloka as well, and we need to now dwell some more points are required to be discussed in shloka number 3. I expect that I complete up to shloka number 5 today. So shloka number 3, 4, and 5. Let's see. With this note, let us go to the shloka number 3. Shri Bhagavanuvacha Loke Asmin Dvivida Nishta Pura Prokta Mayanaga Jnana Yogena Shakyana Karma Yogena Yogina. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, O sinless Arjuna. So Mayanaga means, Anaga means sinless one. I have already explained that there are two classes of men who try to realize the self. Some are inclined to understand it by empirical philosophical speculation and other by devotional service. This we discussed last class. Now there is something to do here which Prabhupada mentions in the purport. Therefore, both yogas are interdependent. So, Prabhupada here actually brings in the point that Shankya Yoga, which was discussed, and the Buddhi Yoga or Karma Yoga are related with one another as religion and philosophy. Religion without philosophy is sentiment or sometimes fanaticism, while philosophy without religion is mental speculation. So the ultimate goal is Krishna because the philosophers were also sincerely searching after absolute truth come in the end to Krishna consciousness. This is stated in Bhagavad Gita. So this is something which we need to understand. So if you take any Krishna consciousness or any dharma in that case, we need two things. One is religion and philosophy. Both are essential components of spiritual life. I don't call it as dharma, but spiritual life. Religion involves the actions we take, such as chanting of Hare Krishna, while philosophy provides the intellectual framework like reading Bhagavad Gita. So, philosophy helps us to understand the deeper meanings behind our practices, while religion allows us to experience what philosophy describes. So, if when a practitioner starts devotional life in Krishna consciousness, the first thing it does is chanting Hare Krishna. Shrunvatam Swakata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana. So it does Kirtan, Punya Shravana Hridayantasto Hyabhadran Vidunoti Sursatam. So there is a shloka in Srimad Bhagavatam where first he hears the holy name, he hears devotees discussion. So that is religion. He understands, okay, now I need to practice. What should I practice? I have to practice chanting. How should I practice? On the beats. So there is some religious, like it is a ritual that he practices. But this ritual, is it enough? No, it is not enough. So without philosophy, actions are driven only by sentiments. So, for example, if someone asks why we chant, we cannot simply say it feels good, as that would be similar to others claiming that the same emotional response from different practices. While a philosophical foundation, we cannot discern uh, if now what is right or wrong, and this leads to fanaticism. So where one blindly believes their God is supreme with no deeper understanding. So this is what we see in Islam. Islam does not have strong philosophical basis. So they go for namaz five times a day without philosophical emphasis because questioning is banned in Islam. But questioning to understand, seek to understand is well appreciated in Vedic scriptures. So therefore it is important that we ask question not with a challenging attitude, but with the purpose of understanding and contribute to the overall mission of the movement, in this case, Krishna consciousness. On the other hand, philosophy alone without practice leads to speculation. It can result in confusion where there is nothing concrete is realized. So we see that there are so many papers on Gaudiya Vaishnavism in Europe being presented by professors in US as well as in Europe. But they do not have any transformation. They keep on eating their beef steaks. They have alcohol. They smoke. They are womenizers. So there is no transformation. For instance, one might speculate that this universe is orderly, so there must be God. But without any real practice or conviction, they cannot give heart to it. So they may speculate that after reading about a natural disaster where thousands of people have died, they come to a conclusion that there is no God. And instead, they say that there is no God. If God was there, he could have averted this catastrophe. So instead of turning their life for deeper belief, understanding it deeper, they just get converted into what is called as armchair philosophers or armchair, propagand armchair philosophy, which they do after a huge lunch in Sunday afternoon, and there is no spiritual progress altogether. So the true spiritual realization requires a balance of both religion and philosophy. Systematic practice of spiritual life grounded in strong philosophical and understanding enables steady progress. Only then can one experience a higher reality. So science is built upon both theory and experiment, which makes it a complete body of knowledge. For example, Newton observed an apple falling, a common occurrence. Unlike others who did not question it, Newton questioned it. Why is this happening? And then he formulated the theory of gravity. Science begins with observing a phenomena and then developing theories to explain them. The theory of gravitation is verified through different experiments by conducting tests in different geographical locations with different people and different objects. The theory is confirmed. Whether it is only apple which comes down, or it's also orange or a stone or a brick, and is it happening everywhere in the globe? So all these tests were done, and theory is confirmed. These experiments provide evidence that supports the theory, making the science both logical and practical. Similarly, spirituality combines philosophy and religion. Philosophy, for instance, teaches us that we are not the body, but the soul. We question our fear of death and our longing for immortality, leading to conclusion that there is something within us which is eternal, and that is soul. This is supported by both logic, reasoning, and scriptures. So, like Newton, we have acharyas like Madhvacharya, Ramanujacharya, who have explained the physical happening with right theories or right commentaries. Vedavyas is also one of the philosophers who explains the religion. We see in Srimad Bhagavatam that he has not explained the bhakti philosophy properly. He has just thrown Krishna consciousness everywhere in the Vedas. So there is no conclusive evidence that Krishna is a supreme personality of God. Bhakti is the best process to go back home, back to God. This he did not confirm it. He did not confirm that this is the only means and Krishna is the only goal. He has not told it. That is why he has written Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the complete philosophy of bhakti. So that is why to confirm this knowledge, practice is essential. So when we read Srimad Bhagavatam, it is necessary that we practice it. If we are truly the soul, then our connection to Supreme Being, which is Krishna, will bring eternal happiness. Religion, as a spiritual science, allows us to experience this higher happiness, diminishing our desire for lower material pressure. So we being eternal, we will embrace things which bring, which confirm the eternality. That is why we are able to give up all bad habits faster. Just as experiments validate scientific theory, spiritual practice confirms philosophical truths. Religion is like an experiment. Practicing religion means effort to experience the higher reality. By chanting Hare Krishna, by doing kirtan, by eating prasadam, we experience a higher and richer happiness. When this happens, it frees us from all bad habits. We have the experience that we had a long standing bad habit which we were unable to give up until we started practicing spiritual life. This act, this specific transformation confirms that spirituality is true. It is the higher dimensional transformation science. Thus, combination of theory and practice is necessary to understand anything which has a scientific basis. So, spirituality is a higher dimension because it deals with subjects which are higher than what modern science can deal with. So, it is transformational. It involves inner transformation. It involves experience of higher reality. So it is not experimental but experiential. There is no experiment available, but only experience available. It is different from the modern science or material science, which is just experimental. Spirituality involves experiments on us. When we do that experiment on us, we experience the difference. So Rajavidya, Rajaguhyam, Pavitram, Idamuttamam, Pratyaksha. You will, as you do it, you will realize. So if you see shloka number 9, 9.2, Rajavidya, Rajaguhyam, Pavitram, Idamuttamam, Pratyaksha by direct experience. So this is a experiential thing. This knowledge is king of education, the most secret of all secrets. It is purest knowledge, and because it gives direct perception by self-realization, it is perfection of religion. It is everlasting and it is joyfully performed. So it is an experiential science. So we gradually give up bad habits and become spiritually inclined. We become happy. It is joyfully performed. That is why we are able to give up bad habits. Oh, so we can see people from all walks of life, from all continents, from varying background, took up this process which Srila Prabhupada has given us, and they have transformed significantly from what they were to what they are now. This is the proof for transformation impact of spiritual science, which has worked in different time, places, and circumstances. So just like the applicability and repeatability of science is universal, the applicability or and repeatability of gravitational force or gravitational theory is universal. Same way, the applicability of spiritual science is also universal and repeatable. With respect to material science, we do not Now, with respect to material science, whether it is transformation or not, we do not know. But with respect to spiritual science, the science which Srila Prabhupada has given, science which Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given, it is possible for us to transform. There are many transformational science also available, which is based on psychology, but they are all not true transformational. That is why the material science cannot bring transformation which is long lasting. In spiritual science, bhakti science, our heart is the laboratory. The chanting of the Hare Krishna is a procedure. When we practice the chanting of Hare Krishna, the laboratory of our heart, we experience a transformation. So, this is science, this is spiritual science. So, there is no so, in the spiritual sense, if there is no religion, there is only philosophy, that anybody can come out with any theory. What is its validity without experiment or proper verification? Why no, there is no validity for the philosophy. And without religion, how we can bring a transformation? It is not possible. So, therefore, philosophy alone is of no use. It must have a valid religion or ritualistic things should be there. Then only we can bring transformation. And if we have only practice, only religion, and we do not have philosophy, it leads to pointless actions. This means the experiments need to have some basic objectives, which are derived based on philosophies. Why we are chanting? There must be an objective. Otherwise, conducting experiments or practicing religion simply becomes meaningless. This means there is no background why we practice something. So we can conduct experiment, but without a proper conclusion based on the objective, the experiment is useless. It's just waste of time. The religion is then ritual without strong conviction why we practice the ritual. Therefore, after some time, so say for example, a ball is thrown onto a stiff wall. The ball is comes back because ball is elastic. So I know the background knowledge that the wall should be stiff and the ball is elastic, which explains the ball bouncing back. So this background knowledge helps us to improvise the experiment, and the experiment can have deepen the concepts, and hence we can design balls with different philosophies or different materials, and hence we can get corollaries which are once again philosophy of their own. So we can improvise that into a tennis ball, a volleyball, a football, or it could become it can become a weapon which can break a huge wall. So these are some of the improvisation of the experiment, but it is based on strong theory basis. So there is a ball, and we know the material science behind it. So in India, people go to temple as a ritual. This is because they know that visiting temple and having darshan of deities bring inner peace. However, this ritual does not have a proper spiritual understanding, and hence this visiting temple is lost over a period of time, or the ritual will get tampered over a period of time. And now, if you see, Indians have started visiting movie theaters, amusement park, bars, liquor shops. They think that this brings peace of mind. So why visit temple? So then they are equating the lower mode of inspiration to visiting temple and having darshan of deity. Thus, without a strong philosophical basis, ritual get will be compared with the lower, with attachments driven by lower modes, or derived by alternates driven by lower modes of nature, and hence after some time the ritual will be given up. Thus, when the basis of practice is just feeling, then it will not have long lasting, it will not last long. And when baser alternates come, then the ritual or practice is just given up No, they consider that it as just obstacle. In case of devotees, there is a clear reasoning why he is happy when when he is chanting the holy name. He knows Krishna is not different from his name. He is the supreme personality of God. He is the supreme reservoir of pleasure. Thus, chanting the holy name of Lord Krishna gives peace and happiness. This background understanding helps us to concretize our practice, and this practice brings deeper understanding of philosophy. So, we need to have a proper balance of both philosophy and religion. Srila Prabhupada has given us the morning program, which is a practice session. During this, we have Mangalarti, then Darshanarti, and in between these two artis, we have the chanting session. So after chanting session, we have darshan of the deities. So this is a religion part. Then after Darshanarti, we have Srimad Bhagavatam class, which is full of philosophies. In individual who have no, so for example, some people have different circumstances. Then we need to follow a daily sadhana, which is morning Mangalarti, chanting, offering boga, darshanarti, reading books for for at least 1 hour every day, eating only prasadam. This is a wholesome practice which is integrated with proper reading of Prabhupada's books. So this brings a combination of both philosophy and religion. So in this specific case, we see that Srila Prabhupada is correlating, correlating Jnana Yoga. Jnana Yoga is relating Jnana of these two paths better because it does not depend on purifying senses by philosophical process. So he is correlating Jnana Yoga with philosophy and Karma Yoga with religion. So there must be a good mix of it. Okay, so we'll go to the next shloka, 3.04. Na karmanam anarambam naishkarmyam purushosnute nacha sanyasanat eva siddhim samadhi gacchati. Not by merely abstaining from work can one achieve freedom from reaction, nor by renunciation alone can one attain perfection. So, siddhim samadhi gacchati. Siddhi means success. Samadhi gacchati attains. So, renouncing action does not free one from reactions of karma. Krishna states that just by giving up activity, one does not attain perfection or siddhi. Nacha sanyasadan eva siddhim samadhi gacchati. So Krishna connects here the previous verse. So if you see the previous verse, 3.3, लोके अस्मिन् द्विविधनिष्ठः पुरा प्रोक्ता नयानगा ज्ञानयोगेन शङ्ख्यान कर्मयोगेन योगेन. So in the previous this verse, he distinguished between jnana yoga and karma yoga. Jnana yoga is generally considered higher than karma yoga, but due to but not due to external practices. So he is considering the Jnana Yoga is generally considered higher than Karma Yoga because there is no external practices in Jnana Yoga. The superiority is based on inner purification. So superiority of Jnana Yoga is higher because it is looking at the inner purification. So when inner purification is achieved, external forms can provide proper support. So, however, if one thinks that just by giving up action to avoid reactions of work and formalize this by taking sannyasa, Krishna clearly rejects this notion. So that is what we see in 3.4. So Jnana Yoga is a higher position. Karma Yoga is a lower position. Karma Yoga is dependent on external practices. Jnana Yoga does not have any external practices. But without proper qualification, if we go to Jnana Yoga, without inner purification, if we go to inner no, Jnana Yoga, then that way there is a tendency to fall down. But whether there is inner purification or not, just by remaining in Karma Yoga and focusing on the work that we are doing, we can get purified. So that is what Krishna is telling. However, if one thinks that he can give up action to avoid reactions of work, formalize this by taking sannyasa. So if somebody says, I will take sannyasa so that I avoid work, then that will not free one from karmas. Krishna clearly rejects this notion. He begins the first and third lines of this verse. Na karmana narambam, na chanyasanat. So, which means such actions are completely to be avoided. Merely adopting external forms without inner purification, just changing the dress will not lead to transformation, will not lead to inner transformation. In bhakti, we also see external forms, external transformation. Like we wear dhoti kurta, we put tilak, we have shika. But the just adopting these does not make one devotee. So both Bhakti Vinod Thakur and Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, they say they reject that true devotion require, they reject this external appearance and emphasize that true devotion requires inner transformation, not just words. So, eto he kaliyer chela mata neda kapni para tilak na ke galai mala. Tilak na ke means on the nose there is a tilak. Galai mala means he has beads in his neck. So here he's just saying that just another disciple of Kaliyuga. So Eto Eka Kalir Chela. He keeps his head shaven. Mata Neda Kapni Para. So he wears a loin cloth and tilak on the tilak, a tilak on the nose and the tulasi beads around the neck. So this way he is acting as a messenger of Kali. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur and Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati completely oppose any hypocritical displays of devotion. It is also called as ostentatious. Ostentatious in this context refers to exaggerated or flashy demonstration of spirituality meant to impress others without any sincere internal practice. Hypocritical refers to pretending to be a devout person externally while appear externally as a devout person while lacking the spiritual intention or the inner transformation. So such behaviors are viewed as deceitful and and are so it is just like wearing a devotional garb to cheat and exploit others. Very is the motive of just personal gain. These falsehoods aimed at representing representing a false front of devotion or for selfish reason, we must avoid. This is no, false. No, this is not appreciated by acharyas. Srila Prabhupada also emphasizes this point in his purport. He is saying that simply by adopting sannyasa or returning from one at once becomes good as, but Lord Krishna does not approve this without purification of heart. Sannyasa is just a disturbance in social order. On the other hand, if someone takes to transcendental service even without discharging his prescribed duty, whatever he may be able to advance in this cause is accepted by Lord. Swa alpa apiyasya dharmasya prayate mahato bhayat. Without purification, one cannot attain success by abruptly adapting the fourth order of life. So this is very, very important. So, true devotion requires inner sincerity and purity, not just outward appearances. So, there is one shloka called Shruti Smriti Puranadi Pancharatri Midimina Aikantike Arer Bhakte Utpata Yaiva Kalpate. So, this is from Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. It means devotional service of the Lord that ignores authorized Vedic literatures like Upanishads, Puranas, Narada Pancharatra is simply an unnecessary disturbance in society. So, this underscores the importance of adhering to the sacred text to ensure the authenticity of devotional practice. So, sacred text also refers to the words of acharyas, instructions of acharyas. So, this is very, very important. So in contrast, the Mayavada philosophy erroneously suggests that by merely adapting a sannyasa danda, one can become Narayan. So you can say, yeah. So I am no in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Just a moment, this is a very good shloka in Chaitanya Charitamrita. वो कहे कहाँ पहले कृष्ण दर्शन लोके कहे सन्यासी तुम्ही जंगम Narayan. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked them, where have you seen Krishna? People replied, you are a sannyasi as mentioned, therefore you are the moving Narayana. So this means simply by accepting danda or order of sannyasa, one is immediately transformed into Narayana. This philosophy leads to Mayavadi sannyasis. To address each other, they address each other Om Namo Narayana, effectively worshipping the person Narayana. So this is, in this regard, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur comments that Jangamana means that impersonal Brahman takes the shape and moves here and there in the form of Mayavadi sannyasi. So Mayavada philosophy says Danda Grahana Matrena Naro Narayana Bhavet. Simply by accepting Danda or the order of or the Danda of the order of sannyasa, one is immediately transformed into Narayana. Prabhupada writes here, actually, an ordinary human being can never become a Narayana. So, we should ensure that just adapting Jnana Yoga will not help us. We need, we need to do work. And when we do work for Krishna, it purifies us. So, this Mayavada theories are all inferior theories, and hence we should reject. So now, the next verse is talking about renouncing activity, highlighting that the true spiritual progress involves more than superficial renunciation. So we can see, Nahi kaschit shanamapi jatu tistati akarmakar karyate hi avashak karma sarva prakriter jai gunai. Everyone is forced to act helplessly according to the qualities he has acquired from the modes of material nature. Therefore, no one can refrain from doing something, not even for a moment. So here, Krishna is driving the. Hmm, Krishna is driving the same theme here. He is telling that Jnana Yoga, you think by adapting a Jnana Yoga, adapting sannyasa, you will abstain from doing work. But Krishna is here emphasizing that even for a moment, you cannot restrain from doing work. So the important thing that we need to understand is that verse begins with na, emphasizing a key point made by Krishna. Action is fundamental aspect of our nature. Some may argue that if we are under the influence of modes of material nature, we must act, and if we were freed from these modes, we need not act at all. This understanding is incorrect. Srila Prabhupada refutes this notion, in the first line. It is not the question of embodied life, but it is a nature of the soul to be always active. So it is not just the modes that we have acquired that we act. No, it is the fundamental nature of the soul. So this is very, very important for us to understand. So although people might claim that our actions are driven by three modes of material nature, it is not the body that acts, but it is the soul within it which acts. The modes of nature influence the direction of our action, but energy to act originates from the soul. The modes may affect how this energy is directed, but they do not create energy or action themselves. If I am hungry, the drive to eat comes from the soul. Then the modes of nature decide whether I am taking prasadam or alcohol or non-vegetarian food or unoffered food and so on. The soul is inherently active whether embodied or liberated. In liberation, soul's energy is magnified as the body which burdens the soul is no longer present. This can be likened to a trekker carrying a heavy backpack on upon a mountain. Removing the backpack would allow him to climb more efficiently. Similarly, the soul, when freed from body, can act with greater ease and vigor. So there is no inertia in him. So between liberation and bonded condition, the nature to act is always there because it is the property of the soul. In material condition, the bonded condition, we are under the influence of three modes of life. So Srila Prabhupada is emphasizing that our focus should be on devotional activity. So this guidance directs us to engage in practices that align with our true spiritual nature. Getting up early in the morning is and singing in praise of Krishna is spiritual nature. Sleeping at that time is laziness. It is in the mode of ignorance. It is truly related with the body. So this transcending the limitation imposed by the body and modes of nature is easier if we align our practices with the true nature of the soul. That is very, very important. यत्त सधर्मं चरणाम्बुजं मरेर्भजन पक्को अथ पते ततो यदि यत्र को वा भद्रबुद्ध अमुष्य किं को वार्त आतो भजतां स्वधर्मता. If someone takes to Krishna consciousness, even though he may not follow the prescribed duties in the Shastras or execute devotional service properly, and even though he may fall down from the standard, there is no loss or evil for him. But if he carries out the injunctions for purification in the Shastras, what does it avail him if he is not Krishna conscious? So the purificatory process is necessary for reaching this point of Krishna consciousness. So here Prabhupada is making one more point. Sannyasa or any purificatory process is to help reach the ultimate goal by becoming Krishna conscious, without which everything is considered failure. So just sannyasa without Krishna conscious background is a failure. Okay, so I'll go to the next shloka. 3.06. Karmendriyani samyamya ya aste manasa smaran indriyarthan vimudatma mithya achara cha uchyate. So what does it mean? Here the one important thing is mithya achara. So one who restrains senses of action but whose mind would simply enjoy respects and and is called a pretender. So he restrains senses of action. He may probably take sannyasa, but his mind still dwells on sense objects. So he is a pretender. So hypocrisy. So mithyaachara is also hypocrisy. Refers to somebody who is seeking prestige and privileged position without fulfilling the corresponding responsibilities and sacrifices. This is evident when a politician, when they are once in power, enjoy respects and taxes from the governance, but fail to address the grievances of people effectively. So if you are taking sannyas order, right, full time engage in Krishna conscious activity. Similarly, religious leaders who attain high positions, sannyasis, must take on responsibility of sharing spiritual knowledge and working for the upliftment of their devotee circle and devotee committees. Thus, they must focus on eliminating negative influences such as illicit desires. So they should keep themselves engaged in activities which protect them from the negative influences. Every position brings both privilege and prestige, but it is also the necessity, but this means it also necessitates uh, discharging the responsibilities and sacrifices required. So Srimad Bhagavatam discusses the position of Guru, emphasizing that one should only assume this role if they can genuinely guide and train their disciples. helping them advance in spiritual life. A guru must provide clear training and guidance to help disciples transform their lives. So, in many cases, the parents need not have to tell their children. When they practice Krishna consciousness in their personal life, then the children see that. So, devotee sees Acharya. The devotees who earlier joined the movement, Krishna conscious movement, saw Prabhupada, how he is aloof from problems of life. So this practice can be need to be truthful in all circumstances. So a person will remain stable, undeterred by the circumstances only when he is fully transformed into Krishna consciousness. If he has transformed for external appearance or want of position or want of prestige, then it will show up. So the children and the family members will transform only when they see transformation in the devotee who is practicing it. So if a person cannot deliver their dependence that way guru, then that means there is some problem in the practice. So they need to improve their practice. So if a person cannot deliver this clarity, then he is probably a hypocrite. So this is referred as false behavior. A sannyasi, for instance, should genuinely embody the qualities of sannyasi rather than merely pretending. If someone externally restrains themselves but internally harbors thoughts of sense objects, then there is hypocrite. This hypocrisy extends to our own actions while we may follow the four regulative principles. If our mind still dwells on objects when we think that we are doing the following four regulative principles, but our mind still dwells on some subject, we must evaluate whether we are truly adhering to these principles or just merely, we are being hypocritical. So these are some of the important pointers on how we need to check ourselves. Nobody need to tell this to us. We know because these are few things which if we are conscientious about, then it is easy for us to make internal correction. When negative thoughts arise, how we handle them reveals our true nature. If we think that our children are not following what we say and not what we say, then we must look at it. We get angry on them, then we need to see this is a negative thought which is arising. And so I am not able to handle it. That means I am not following four regulative principles properly. So I need to handle the situation properly. I need to do a introspection and correct myself. So if we cherish and indulge the negative thoughts, we become mithyachari and vimudatma. We try to find an opportunity to shout at them, or then we are mithyachari, vimudatma. No one should leave Krishna consciousness on our wrong behavior. So this is very, very important. Our minds often replay past sense pleasures triggered by sense objects, creating a high resolution gallery of these experiences. So I talked about anger and so on before. Now I'm talking about internal desires. So there is some favorite food which which is not conducive for Krishna consciousness. So some high resolution image in our mind can trigger our attraction for the sense object, and it will replay the different experiences we had. Say, for example, it could be wine or a beer, or it could be non-vegetarian. When these images resurface, it is crucial to immediately redirect our focus to spiritual matters rather than deliberately nurturing these distractions. So the deliberate fostering of these thoughts with intention of future enjoyment is hypocrisy. So, as sadhakas, we often struggle to give up sense gratification. The memories of past pleasures frequently flash in our minds. These memories can arise uninvited, be dug up from within, or be refreshed by external influences. The act of conscious, this is unconscious, but when the act become conscious, digging out of these memories or refreshing them, then it is hypocrisy. The sudden, uninvoked appearance of memories is not hypocrisy. However, when we intentionally dwell on or cultivate these memories, it is hypocrisy. It is mithyacha. Hypocrisy lies in conscious choice to revisit these thoughts, then striving for purification. If the thought comes, no, I will not, I have some other service to do, let me focus on that service. This service will purify me. This is how we should divert our mind. So, there are two stages of hypocrisy. In the first stage, a person outwardly adopts a spiritual garb but makes no internal effort to purify himself. In the second stage, the person not only fails to purify themselves but actively continues to recollect memories tied to the sense objects. So, this is a continuation of their previous modes of thinking, showing no specific efforts towards internal transformation, which is a deeper level of mithyacha. So, overall, there are four levels of progress or failure in internal and external alignment. First one is external change accompanied by internal change. This is a purified state. External change with sincere internal efforts towards purification. We put tilak, we understand that we want to have Lord's lotus feet on us and we take shelter of Tulsi plant. So we do this so that we have a right frame of mind to and work towards purification. So Krishna likes this. So when we do activities conducive for devotional service with this type of attire, this appearance, Krishna likes. And this entire attitude purifies us. Third one is external change without internal effort for purification. So I put tilak, I put shika, but still I think about non-vegetarian food, alcohol, or so on. So this is the third level. Fourth level is external change while now pursuing recollection of memories related to sense objects and dwelling on them. So between third and fourth level, it's just a step away. Recollection is not there in the third stage, whereas in the fourth stage, there is recollection. So the fourth level is particularly a very, very unfortunate situation when one externally appears to follow the path of spirituality, but internally remains attached to sense gratification. He plans, thinks, engages, and waits for the right opportunity for sense gratification. So this is something which we need to avoid. So if you see here, Srila Prabhupada is writing, but he who makes a show of being a yogi while actually searching for objects of sense gratification must be called the greatest cheater. Even though he sometimes speaks of philosophy, his knowledge has no value because the effects of such sinful man's knowledge are taken away by the illusory energy of Lord. Such a pretender's mind is always impure. Therefore, his show of yogic meditation has no value whatsoever. So, now that one question can arise. How do we connect the sannyasa of Srila Prabhupada's disciples, no, Srila Prabhupada and his disciples? So, if Krishna is condemning the sannyasa, so how we will relate it? So, Bhagavad Gita has multi layers of understanding or multiple levels of understanding. In this specific case, which Krishna is talking about, is Karma Yoga and Jnana Yoga. He is not yet talked about Bhakti Yoga. Both Jnana Yoga and Karma Yoga involves activity. Krishna in this section is emphasizing that inactivity and passive meditation will not result in purification. In Krishna consciousness, whether one is Grihastha or Sannyasi, he is practicing bhakti. The principle for a devotee to take sannyasa is complete surrender unto Lord. So if you see chapter 18, 66, Sarvadharman Parityajya, Mamekam Sharanam Bhaja, Aham Tvam Sarva Papebhyo, Mokshayami, Masucha. Abandon all varieties of religion, just surrender unto me. I shall deliver you from all sinful reaction. Do not fear. So for us, renunciation is not primary or sadhana. Bhakti is our sadhana. That is, Krishna consciousness, whether it is a grahastha or sannyasi, he is practicing bhakti. The principle for a devotee is to take sannyasa is complete surrender unto Lord. This is conclusion of Bhagavad Gita. So bhakti is our sadhana. This renounce order is the facility for this sadhana. Thus, renunciation is better situation for practicing bhakti. Renunciation by itself does not lead to purification. It is the tool to practice bhakti. So, according to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in नाहं विप्रो न च नरपते नापि वैश्यो न शूद्रो नाहं वर्णी न च ग्रहपते न मनस्तो यतिर्वा किंतु प्रोद्यान निकल परमानंद पूर्ण अमृतबे गोपी भारत पाद कमलयो dasa dasanudasa. That means I am not a Brahmana, I am not a Kshatriya, I am not a Vaishya or Sudra, no I am Brahmachari or a householder, a Vanaprastha or Sannyasi. I identify myself only as a servant of lotus feet of Lord Krishna, who is maintainer of gopis. He is like an ocean of nectar. He is the cause of universal transcendental bliss. He is always existing with brilliance. So when devotee talks about renunciation, it is active devotional service. Bhakti involves activity. Krishna is here talking about karma yoga and jnana yoga. Jnana yoga involves inactivity. This type of inactive renunciation is condemned here. He wants active engagement. Krishna wants active engagement. That is why Prabhupada has told devotional service. Bhakti it transfers into devotional service. That means actively engaging in things in for the service of Krishna. The activity can be through karma yoga or it can be also through bhakti yoga. So brahmachari and sannyasis are doing active engagement, not active or not inactive meditation. So that is where it is. Okay, so I'll stop here. We can open for some more questions. Any questions, Prabhu?
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much yet again for some nice insights and good analyses. Prabhuji, I was wondering, as there is this quite often quoted statement by Jayanand Prabhu, who said he was questioned by one of his god brothers that how exactly does one make advancement in Krishna consciousness, and Jayanand Prabhu simply replied that I do not know, that I'm too busy to think of it. So I would just like to hear your thoughts on this. What would be the merits of such a statement, and is there some shortcoming or some fault in such a statement?
Prabhu, so just to answer question, to progress in devotional service, we need to follow the words of Acharya. So I think Chanand Prabhu is engaged in executing his Guru Maharaj's order, which is Srila Prabhupada's order. So he doesn't have time to think all this. He will just follow his Acharya's orders. That is going back to this point, Dasa Dasanudasa. So he is servant of servant of servant of. his spiritual master. That is why he doesn't give a damn to what needs to be done. My spiritual master has given me this, so I'm just executing it. So that is a very high level of sadhana. In fact, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is praying that.
Yes. Well, that's a sound reply. Thank you very much. And another question that arose there, listening to you speak, is that is there a certain point or some under some circumstances where one could make a statement that chanting of Hare Krishna or making attempts in devotional service that would be useless? When can such a statement be made or a waste of time?
Yeah, so is devotional service in Tamogun? Can we associate modes of nature to Tamogun, uh, to devotional service? Yes, offenses against the holy name, offenses against devotees, that is something which we can avoid in devotional service. The 10 offenses we can avoid, it is of no use. So there are a few things, if we do that, then it is nice. If we avoid it, it is nice. So there is nothing like Tamogun, Rajogun, or Sattvagun in devotional service. But there are few things that like the 10 offenses against the holy name, offenses against devotees, these things when we avoid, then our progress towards Krishna is fast. There is a very good example of Indradumna Maharaj. Indradumna Maharaj humiliated Agastya. Agastya Rishi is a Vaishnava and Indradumna Maharaj is a devotee. So, and because he um, humiliated in Agastya Maharishi, Agastya curses Indradim Maharaj to be born as elephant. Elephant is a dumb elephant, a dumb animal. It does not have any major sense. But what happens is that it is in that body for many yugas. And at one point of time, it is so puffed up because of its elephant's body. It thinks that it can defeat anyone. He was like a king of the jungle, surrounded by his family, wives, and so on. But when he caught, when a crocodile caught his legs, uh, he remembered his devotional life. He started chanting shlokas in praise of Supreme Personality of Godhead. So the offense done at the lotus feet of Vaishnava is something we could have avoided or we should avoid. Otherwise, we'll be low born. But Krishna is so merciful and Bhakti is so nice that even in the worst situation, we will get intelligence to call Lord's name. So we should avoid offenses at lotus feet of Lord, offenses at the lotus feet of devotees, lotus feet of holy name, and so on. If we do that, then our progress will be steady. On the other hand, even if we do some of these offenses, bhakti is neha vikramanashasti pratyavayana vidyate swalpapiyasya dharmasya trayate mahatopya. It will protect us from greatest danger. So our devotional service will be protected. Bhakti is protected. Krishna protects us in all circumstances. So this is very, very important for us to understand.
Encouraging. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Then I think we'll stop here. Thank you very much for joining. Vacha kalpatarvyascha vipasantavayarcha pantanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo. Yantraj Bhagavad Gita Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava Jai Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Gaur
Jai.
Premanande. Hari Hari Bol, Hari Krishna, Hare Krishna. Thank you very much,